Welcome to episode 14 of Waves of Wisdom with J.OCEANA. Be sure to subscribe for your tide of truth and transformation where we dive deep and surface wiser. As of August 9th, Perez Hilton's family says he remains hospitalized after an apparent self-harm crisis during a live stream on August 4th. They describe him as serious but stable, says his recovery will be lengthy, and have asked for privacy, especially for his children. That was written by people.com. Now, y'all know we have the conversations that go deeper than the headline. And today, I want to talk about the situation involving Perez Hilton. Before we get into this episode, I want to give a content warning. We are going to be discussing mental health and self-harm. I will not be showing, linking to, or describing the graphic content circulating online because I don't believe anybody needs to see it in order for us to have this conversation. And also, just as a soft disclaimer, I haven't even seen the video. And more importantly, this episode isn't about turning somebody else's crisis into our entertainment. It's actually about the exact opposite. This is about humanity. So I'm not here to say whether or not this is his karma, is it mental health, spiritual health, or both at the same time. Only Perez and God know that.
Perez Hilton was just on live harming himself for about 30 minutes, and it is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Before you go to look up that video, if you're the type of person who can't handle scary stories or horror movies or whatever, don't go look that up. And honestly, no one should go look that up. Whatever you're thinking, it's 10 times worse. He was covered from head to toe in literally, like, it looked like Carrie, like completely covered. And he was holding and he was slicing it. Don't watch it. Apparently, Perez has been struggling with his mental health because he had been in the hospital dealing with sepsis. And after that, people are saying that he was dealing with religious psychosis and things of that nature. Thank goodness he was in the house by himself. The police were alerted. A whole bunch of people were reporting it. And honestly, to TikTok, I don't understand how that many reports didn't get the live taken down. But if you post on TikTok, you know, you could say anything and your video gets taken down, but not this. I don't understand how this live went on for that long. There are supposed to be security measures on this app. There are children who are on this app. There are adults who don't want to see this type of stuff. He was literally able to join a group live. I guess some people that he goes live with or people that he knows joined his live. There were 3 other people at one point trying to tell him to stop, and the live still didn't get taken down. But like I said, thank goodness he was alone. His children weren't there. The police were able to get to him. The police actually put a statement out. They said, unless there is an immediate threat to others, slowing the situation and utilizing crisis intervention techniques can reduce the likelihood of a by-cop encounter and minimize the risk of injury to the individual, deputies, and the public. All prayers go out to Perez. That was very disturbing to watch. I really hope that he, heals, and I hope and pray that he is okay. I pray for his family as well, because that was a lot.
I was one of those people watching Perez Hilton live in real time tonight, okay? The video that everybody is dreading to watch, I was there in real time. And when I tell you that it did not seem like a psychosis, it did not seem like that man was spiraling out of control. It felt like he was possessed by something that was obviously not himself, okay? If you have been watching him for a while, then you know recently he went through a health scare. He came through it. He was giving his life over to Christ. Like he was really, changing. Now all of a sudden this is happening. Let me just tell you what was the scariest thing about the whole situation. I was on that live and I reported it at least 10 different times. And every single time TikTok kept telling me that they did not see a violation, that nothing was wrong. This man stood there and was self-harming himself for over 30 minutes. I'm talking about nude, a weapon, gore, blood everywhere. But they didn't see nothing was wrong with that. Let me just tell y'all, I never in imagined years would have imagined that I would ever pick up my phone, get on my TikTok app, and see the stuff that I seen tonight. All I can do is pray for him. I can't even get the images out of my mind. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. And I know anybody that watched that video or even was there in real time like me, I know that they are feeling the same way. Y'all, we got to pray for him because it's something going on with him behind that screen that a lot of us obviously don't know about. And here's the thing, it did not end when that TikTok live ended. That man barricaded himself inside of the house, and it was all over the news how police was trying to get in the house to save him from himself. And hopefully they were successful. Hopefully tomorrow we don't wake up to another TikTok influencer losing their damn life.
I'm a fucking parasite loser.
Popular overseas influencer and prominent TikTok personality Perez Hilton recently displayed disturbing behavior during a live stream, showing clear signs of an ongoing mental health crisis that sparked widespread online concern and prompted local police intervention. Throughout the live broadcast, Perez repeatedly made self-blaming, unsettling remarks and exhibited highly unstable verbal and emotional behavior, alarming countless viewers in his live chat. Concerned netizens quickly clipped and shared footage of the stream, which rapidly went viral across major social media platforms. As the situation escalated, law enforcement officers rushed to his residence in Miami to conduct a welfare check and attempt communication. However, Perez refused to cooperate and locked himself inside the home, leaving authorities unable to make contact. This is not the first major health scare for the influencer. Months ago, he suffered a severe medical emergency that landed him in the hospital for weeks. After recovering, Perez openly stated that the life-threatening illness had completely changed his outlook, and he began posting more content focused on faith and personal growth. Now, his sudden behavioral relapse has shocked fans and followers. At present, there are no official statements or confirmed details regarding the incident, and the exact cause and his current condition remain under further review.
I keep telling y'all something ain't right about 2026. So you're telling me not even a month ago, Perez Hilton got online and claimed that he found Jesus. He said he knows for sure that God is watching over him. And then last night, Perez Hilton started self-harming himself on TikTok Live while thousands of viewers was watching. You heard what I just said? Last night, while Perez Hilton was on TikTok Live with thousands of viewers, he just randomly started self-harming himself. And let me start by saying this. I seen the video on X. I do not suggest you watch that video. And this is for entertainment purposes only. This is the live that he was on. There are pictures floating around. You can see this man a bloody mess. And this ain't a made-up story. This is facts. This man had a breakdown on TikTok Live. Now, there are images, but I'm not going to put them on his page because I don't want to get this video flagged. But if you search those images, and I'm telling you not to, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. They're saying that Florida sheriffs had to come and stop this man from doing what he was doing to himself. They're saying that when they got there, he was a bloody mess. Now, why would somebody that's worth $30 million do something like that to themselves? Tell me. And then after you tell me that, tell me why would somebody like this do something like that to themselves after this? Look at this shit.
This is why I know God is real. What I'm going to share with you reaffirms what I already knew, because I know God is real. God showed me in the most real way in the hospital when I almost died that he is real. And now he is listening to me and guiding me to where I need to be.
I'm out.
Perez Hilton is a selfish piece of shit for doing what he did. He traumatized how many people yesterday? How many people unknowingly got subjected to something that they're never going to unsee? I haven't watched it, but the people who have watched it have said that, no, really, don't watch it. We hear this all the time, like, oh no, it's so terrible, don't watch it. And then you watch it and it's not that bad. They're like, no, it is that bad. It's gruesome, it's wicked, it's devil shit. Don't watch it. And you know that your brain needs time to process something before you realize what the fuck you're watching and you can make the choice to swipe away, right? And even if someone were to instantaneously have swiped away, they still have it burned in their brains because this is that kind of thing, all right? What he did was very intentional. He could have posted a video if he wanted to post a video. If he wanted to just do the thing, he could have just done the thing, right? But he needed an audience. And it had to be live because he didn't want to give the algorithms an opportunity to stifle it or to suppress it or to take it down. What he did was intentional to hurt you. And this is on brand for him. It's what he's always done. When I first heard the news this morning, I was like, shit, like that's terrible, right? My memory was not jogged yet. I've seen a couple more videos today, and then I remembered, oh yeah, no. He wasn't just bullying up. He was punching down. When Britney Spears was at her mental worst, when she was having a mental breakdown in front of all of our eyes, he was gleefully campaigning for her to herself. That's wicked shit. He's been terrorizing people. He's been traumatizing people, and he's lost his audience because of that. And so since then, all I've ever seen his content be comprised of is him bitching about being banned. I never actually see any of his content that he's delivering. I just see that I was banned again. It's fucking with my money. Why don't people like me? And then suddenly he's like, I'm going to turn a new leaf, and now I'm a nice guy gossiper. I've turned to Jesus. Now he's a Jesus guy. Which is also narcissistic in my opinion. You don't go from being that wicked and that cruel and that demonic, frankly, to suddenly being like, I'm a Jesus guy and I'm going to read you the Bible in my videos because I'm better than you. Not that I'm like an authority or anything, but I am godly now. Like that kind of thing. Right? So the wicked shit, the mean shit, the cruel shit wasn't working for him anymore. So now he was just going to try to be a Jesus guy. And when he's still not getting the attention he wants, what does he do? Force people to watch that shit? What he did was selfish. It was cruel. I understand the mental health aspect of it all. I understand a lot of people are talking about him having a psychotic break or I don't know, an episode. I don't know what kind. I'm not a mental health professional, okay? But I'm hearing a lot of people talking about that, and it's terrible. They wish him well. I wish him whatever. I don't wish him anything. I'm extremely fucking neutral to him. I'm only on here to say, don't find yourself feeling too bad about it. He's been cruel his entire fucking public life, and this, I think he was hoping would be his last act of cruelty, but he failed.
Go watch that Perez Hilton live stream video. That video is demonic, okay? That video is demonic, and it's something that I wish I wouldn't have seen, but hey, I stumbled across it on Facebook. The internet has literally become a third world country. The internet has become a third world country, and you can literally see any and everything. And you claim you want to be a celebrity, right? You claim you want to be at the top, you want to be around people of power. Well, it's a lot that comes to that, okay? A lot of y'all are not mentally prepared for what's to come when you get into those types of rooms with people that you have never met in your life. And I'm not saying that to say Perez has done those things, but he is a big figure, and I think it's bigger than what we all know. Okay, it's a mental assassination of the human race right now. I'm telling y'all, the world is weird right now, man. And just when you think you found out how weird it really is, it gets weirder. The only thing I can tell y'all is stay prayed up, man. Keep your faith in God and just watch the world turn from a distance, man. Keep your eyes on it.
I keep seeing people saying that we should be praying for Perez Hilton. We should feel bad for him. I keep seeing reposts. Y'all did not grow up in the 2000s and 2010s, and it motherfucking showed. Perez Hilton, even as a child, I knew was a horrific and evil human being who capitalized off of people's worst moments in life and has gone so far in life to do so many publicity stunts that there is no empathy in my body for this person because of how disgusting and horrific he has been able to be and have a platform consistently. Go look at all the horrible things he said about so many women, so many minority groups as a whole. Unacceptable. And I mean, I don't want to speak on it really, but the fact that y'all are continuously saying, oh, he's a human being, he is subhuman to me. The things he said are unforgivable and disgusting, and I hope he gets the help he deserves, but he should have got that help 15 years ago because he's been unhinged and horrible.
Okay, some of you are so concerned with feeling morally superior to the point that you are intentionally failing to understand the context of why some bad people deserve their bad karma. Most sane people would never leave a child alone in a room with Perez Hilton because that's how predatory and evil he has been to kids. If you do not know the 2007 Perez Hilton Adam Sandler's daughter incident, you do not know Perez Hilton. And I understand right now that we live in a world where you can see a piece of media, feel that empathy, and to be honest, move on with your day. But context matters, specifically with Perez Hilton. We are talking about a man who on national TV has gone out of his way to call toddlers and 10-year-olds fat, tubby, chubby, ugly, all of the things. That's who he is. He's done that repeatedly. I don't think that someone who goes after children and intentionally targets minors has the capability to see their wrongs and change. I think that if you are already wired to have the capability and capacity to target minors, you are not a good person. Context matters. It matters so much with Perez Hilton. You cannot just watch his live and be like, oh, I feel bad for him and we need to feel bad for him. No. Any bitch over the age of 24 who lived through the early 2000s saw what Perez Hilton did to children's eating disorders and women's eating disorders. That's the facts. Many people are walking around on this earth right now with eating disorders solely because of Perez Hilton.
Hey, everybody. I've been crying. I've been crying, but happy tears. Happy tears. Because this is just so crazy. I've been reading the Bible, and so much of what is said here I had already been thinking of. It's just overwhelming in the best, most beautiful way. All right, I'm snapping out of it. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer. And this Joyce Meyer Everyday Bible is actually the third Bible that I bought this week. The first Bible that I bought, the font was too small. I couldn't read it. I'm an old man. I just turned 48. The second Bible that I bought didn't resonate with me. The language, whichever version it was, it was hard to digest. Then my friend Thalia, who's been an angel to me, suggested this version of the Bible, and I bought it. And this morning, I was reading about pruning, something that not only was I thinking of, but I was doing already. I was doing it already. Earlier this week, I started unfollowing a lot of people on the I place, the I place that then the G, I was following over 6,000 people. That's too much. So I've been pruning, trying to get it down to something manageable. Trying to get it down to something manageable, like 600. And then I started sobbing when it was talking about God wanting me to have a fruitful life. Because God has already showed me that. God has already presented that to me. I've been going live on the clock app, the tickety-talkie, and people have been so kind. People have been so supportive. And I'm just so overwhelmed in the best, most beautiful way. I'm not used to being supported. I'm used to getting hate. So having people send positive vibes my way, thank you. Thank you. I needed a moment to really finish this. Oh God, I'm about to start crying right away. It's all good. I made a lot of mistakes in my past. We all have. Nobody's perfect. But my mistakes are very public. The internet is forever. Receipts are forever. I carry with me deep shame and regret. I'm sorry. I will continue to apologize. I have also reached out to make amends. I've apologized publicly and privately to dozens of people. I also saw recently that Kristen Johnson of A Third Rock from the Sun, that I hurt her back in the day, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to her. I'm sorry to her. I will send this to her and apologize privately as well. And for the majority of my career, because I was so selfish, because I didn't care who I hurt, I just cared about the views, the attention, the money. People hated me. Some people enjoyed it, but it felt like most people hated me. And the last week, since I've been home, I haven't been getting as much hate. And I've been getting love and prayers. And the hate doesn't bother me. And on the flip side, part of me thinks that the love shouldn't matter either, because support and praise can be a false god. You can get used to it, you can expect it, you can need it. But I would be lying if I didn't say that it really lifted me up. And thank you. And yes, I made a lot of mistakes in my past, but I know that God loves me. And I know that some people are fed up with me talking about God. You don't have to watch these videos. You don't have to watch. I love God. My experience was real. My testimony is important. I respect everybody. You don't have to believe in God. I respect all religions. I celebrate and love all religions. Let me take a moment. And I know this might sound cheesy, but I know that God loves me. God has forgiven me. And almost more importantly, I have forgiven myself. And I know there still are people out there who want to see me suffer and want to see me pay for the mistakes and the bad decisions and the hurt that I caused in the past. Karma. And they're entitled to that opinion. It is valid. I earned those thoughts, but I forgive myself. What matters is today, how I behave today, how I behave tomorrow. And not only did God save me in so many ways, but God gave me a new lease on life and a new opportunity to truly be better and do better. And I've already met the very judgmental Christian people over the last few days. There's a lot of them. I don't do gossip. I do celebrity journalism. And I have to provide for my family. I have 3 young children and my mother that I also support, and my sister who works for me. I'm doing my best. I'm doing things differently than before. My heart is filled with gratitude and love and repentance. I'm sorry. I forgive myself. I forgive you if you want bad things to happen to me. And I send you love. I send you all love, especially the people who have been so kind recently. Everybody on the talkie tick, everybody everywhere. Thank you. Thank you. And if you can,
just drop a heart emoji in the chat.
Now, yesterday what happened, and I made, like I said, Skylar watched this video last night, so I didn't have to. My husband watched this video, so I didn't have to. I have sensitive eyes and ears. But in the video, which ran live on TikTok, Perez Hilton was fully naked, drenched in blood, with multiple cuts all over his body, and he was cutting himself. He can be seen making cuts with a knife all over his body. And he's completely out of it. He's on video and he's saying things like, I am doing this for my children. He's looking out of the window, recognizing that the police are here, saying, shoot me, mother foes, mother F words, you know what I'm trying to say there. And what happened was the update came from NBC. Obviously, they took him gratefully, peaceably, and they hospitalized him after this live stream. He was doing this on a live stream on TikTok, I should mention. And the police said that they responded to his Miami area home of the celebrity blogger and podcaster Perez Hilton after they received reports that he engaged in self-harm in a live streamed video Tuesday night. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said in an email that the deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. In a follow-up statement, the sheriff's office said that the person was safely recovered and taken by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he was receiving medical attention. It said that deputies spoke to the family members at the scene who confirmed the person had been alone inside the residence, so his kids were not there. The video, which was streamed on TikTok before the platform pulled it, appeared to show Hilton covered in blood with visible cuts, holding a knife. And in the video, viewers pleaded with him and asked for his phone number so that they could alert authorities. And they note that he's a single father with 3 children born via surrogacy, and he moved back to Miami after living in Las Vegas for 3.5 years.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Perez Hilton was an absolute emotional terrorist, and he deserves nothing but the worst. You will be hard-pressed to find a millennial woman who was online during his heyday that could say anything or have anything but contempt for the man, because he was that vile, vicious, and just disgusting. The way that he was so misogynistic, the way that he treated Britney Spears, the way that he treated just women in general. Vile, vicious, and disgusting. The fact that he had religious psychosis and a whole breakdown and still got mental health professionals instead of being carted away by the police says a lot about this country. But yeah, no, he deserves nothing but the worst.
So I did not have the capacity last night to come on here and talk about what happened with Perez Hilton. Now, here's the thing. Perez Hilton was on live for about 30 minutes, no clothes on, none. What's strange to me about this, and go with me on this, because a lot of people are calling this mental health, and he was having a breakdown, and there's so much to this storyline. Now, people kept trying to report this live, y'all, and the live was not, TikTok just had it going and going and going. For over 30 minutes. He was full of bodily fluid that was red, if you know what I mean. Get it. And then afterwards, he ended up barricading himself in a house because people began to call authorities to check on him. And allegedly, they said that he was barricaded and they were trying to get to him. Now, I don't know any updates at this point, but if you actually watched the live, it was like something had literally taken over him. Like it was this, like he was not himself. You can literally tell that it was something else that was operating. And people keep calling this stuff mental health. I have my thoughts about it. I'm gonna let that be. Okay. Again, mind you, a few months back ago, he had got sick. He was in the hospital, and he came on live and was talking about how he had an encounter with God and it changed his life. He started reading the Bible. I need y'all to catch what I'm putting down. Okay, catch it. He started literally talking about the Bible. God changed his life. But what was interesting to me is Ariana Grande's video, how she had the same thing. It looked very remotely close to that live last night, what she was depicting in her video, her new video that she posted. The imagery is so closely related, look related, her music video, which is very strange to me. In the video, on the live video, he was saying things like, you wanted this, I'm doing this for my kids. He also began to say that he's interested to see what the other side looks like. Now, there's so much to this because while people don't understand, when you are with the upper echelons and the big wigs, and when you are in that world, and y'all know what world I'm talking about, there is such a warfare of a battle that people go through in their minds. Remember, I was talking about how the spirit of infirmity, when you come into agreement with certain contracts and certain things, you allow certain entities to enter your body. And if you do not get delivered and set free by the blood of Jesus, these things will still carry on. I don't care how much you read your Bible. These entities are still operating unless you walk through a full deliverance. And that's deliverance is repentance and coming out of agreement with whatever you came into agreement with. I don't think Perez is the only one that we're going to start to see this type of warfare that is on a rise, because the timing in the spirit realm of where we are with the prophetic calendar, with our world, Satan knows that the timing of everything is critical. And so now it's time, when you come into agreement and you do these things, it's repayment time. He never said, he's a liar. Satan is a liar. He never stands on his word. He'll tell you one thing, you can live forever, you can do all these things, and now you repaying him. That's how it works. My prayers go out to Perez, his children. I think he was in a house with his mom, and it's the house that he barricaded himself in was a house that he stayed with his mama. I think his children. My prayers is that God will truly deliver him, that whatever warfare is rising up against him, because I'm reading my Bible, I had an encounter with God, and and that's just mind boggling. And what happens with the upper echelons, they will send torment to you. And a lot of people, I want to call out some celebrities, but I'm not going to do that. A lot of celebrities know exactly what I'm talking about. When you decide to go to the other side and really truly serve Jesus, there is a warfare that rises up against you like never before, because they already know once you give your life over to God and you come out of agreement, that contract is over. And this is what we're seeing. That is nothing but super spiritual warfare, because it was choosing to whatever he was coming out of agreement with. He had this encounter with God, and now he was reading his Bible. He began to talk about what he was reading. That's warfare. Satan is mad. He's mad because hell has lost another one. So my prayers go out to him, that whatever spiritual warfare, that God will send the saints, strong people in the spirit that can pray him through whatever he's dealing with. Because that ain't like this, when people are trying to unalive themselves, that's a whole spiritual thing that I'm not even going to go into. Those entities will take over your mind and your body. Okay, I'm not gonna go that deep, but side eyeing this Ariana video, and then this happened, I'm just super side eye. I don't like nothing about it. Don't sit right in my spirit, period.
He is demonic, he is evil, he has the devil inside of his soul, and he's a piece of
Many people believe that Perez Hilton is the devil himself. They think he's pure evil. Perez Hilton was the first to report on celebrity T the way he did through his website. A website that got millions and millions of clicks every day. I think anyone in that position, getting millions of dollars, getting all the clicks and views, would do the same. Perez has acknowledged his behavior as horrible. Many times he's been asked over and over, why did you bully Britney Spears?
Why did you bully, what's her name?
Britney Spears?
Yes.
For attention. I was a miserable TWAT.
Did she have a breakdown because of you?
I probably contributed to it, definitely. I take full accountability for my role. I definitely didn't make things easier for her.
Do you not think about people's mental health when you're doing what you're doing?
I do now, because I've changed, but back when I was younger and doing things differently, I didn't.
I know, I appreciate that honesty, actually.
Perez is older now, he's a father, and with age comes wisdom. He's reflected many times on his previous behavior. When he was coming up at the height of his popularity, he acknowledged that the money, the clicks and views were what motivated him to be a mean person.
Oh, I knew it wasn't okay, and I didn't care. I was so selfish. All I cared about was me, the money I was making, the clicks, the page views that I was getting. I was aware, oh, this might hurt somebody's feelings. Right. And I did it anyways. I didn't care. The intentionality is why I don't believe that in the eyes of many to most, I will be ever able to achieve redemption, because I can't claim ignorance. I can't claim youth. I wasn't even that young. I was in my late 20s. Let's say I were to be struck by a car and die today. The majority of the world would celebrate my death.
I really do think he's a changed man today, and I pray that he gets the help that he deserves. People can change. I've seen it before. I've done a lot of terrible things in my past I regret. But what do you think? Is there redemption for the Perez Hilton? Tell me what you think. Let's have a conversation in the comments. And don't forget to follow me for more hot takes, celebrity news, and drama.
The Perez Hilton live stream was terrifying. And I don't suggest anyone watch it. Don't go looking for it. You don't need to see it. And if you saw it, I'm sorry. But that is a glimpse into mental illness. That is a glimpse into a mental health crisis. That is a glimpse at what it looks like when your brain is powerful, but also dangerous. And that's what millions of Americans face every single day. The most terrifying thing that can happen to someone is to lose your mind, lose the ability to control your mind. Imagine what a dark place someone has to be at to do something like that. To not want to exist anymore. Imagine the darkness that they are in. And millions of people suffer with that. And a lot of people suffer in silence. And it is sad that we have not, as a country, come together and made mental health services available for all. For all. It is terrible to try to get an adult who is suffering from a severe mental illness treatment. It is horrible trying to find a child who suffers. It's almost impossible to find a child who suffers with mental health issues treatment. And there are so many people who suffer from it. And if you saw a glimpse of what a lot of us saw tonight, you saw something horrifying, but I also hope that it helped you realize that maybe there's things that you haven't went through, but that other people go through, and there's more understanding of mental health issues and mental health crises, and that just because it's never happened to you or you've never experienced doesn't mean it's not real. My family never thought it would happen to us, but it did. 1996. My uncle, there were no signs at all. Went to work, came home, went out that night with his friends, went into the shed. No signs, no letter, no nothing. Check on your people. Fight for your people. And at all costs, try to just stay away from that video.
Perez Hilton is a current living example of you can never win when you play dirty. He came out when I was a kid. I'm a whole adult now. That man has terrorized Hollywood. I've watched him terrorize Britney Spears, Perez Hilton. He outed Neil Patrick Harris, another gay man. What? Like, Amanda Bynes, he's bullied her. So many people, when they went on their mental health struggles or privacy, leaking information, like, you were a bully that wanted their lives, so you start talking shit about them to become part of their world. And eventually, he got the popularity he wanted. He got the fame. He was in those rooms, You can never win when you play dirty. He reeks of envy, jealousy, and look what happened to him years later. Now his children are suffering due to his actions. That is so unfair. You, a single dad of 3, trying to kill yourself on a fucking live because the shit you put out, you can't handle it now? Now the popularity is dried up. You're irrelevant now. The money has dried up. You can't name drop yourself. No one likes you. No one really liked you. But they stuck around because we understand, most of us understand press. You know, Perez Hilton, his popularity, his blog grew. The era of bloggers, it can do damage. So for those of you that don't understand the industry, press, or just the blogger world in general, Perez Hilton occurred a huge following because curiosity, etc. Publications and platforms like Fashion Bomb Daily, the Jason Lee, TMZ, all these celebrity type of platforms, if they post you, eyes go to you. The way publicists, marketing, PR people, especially publicists, they don't want their client, the celebrity, the actress, model, whatever, to get bad press. What you do is you become friends with people like Perez Hilton. You most likely will pay them a retainer to not talk bad about you and only post good things about you. Hence why you see the Kardashians. They have the money to have blogs on a retainer. There's a lot of celebrities who have publications on retainer where they only post positive things about them. If their project is dropping, things like that. Perez Hilton, he was only dishing out negative stuff. So now he's at the point in his career where no one gives a shit about you anymore. The blogger era became oversaturated, so no one gives a shit anymore. Perez Hilton, if he posts something now about Perez Hilton, it's out the ear and, it's in one ear and out the other. It's irrelevant. Now, your money's dried up. Now, celebrity culture is dying. What's your backup plan? A lot of y'all, when y'all doing you want to be influenced, you want to be content creator, you want to be in the industry, think about the route that you're going down, because it might just end up costing you in the end because you're chasing clout and popularity versus genuine connections and building up your network. Because that network is going to trickle down, and it always don't equal what you're bringing in your bank account. You never win when you play dirty.
You've got to be kidding me if you want me to feel bad for Perez Hilton. For those of you that don't know, Perez Hilton got on a live stream because he was self-harming himself. And now many people on the internet are trying to throw him some sort of pity party. You're not going to get a pity party here. I see all the tags with everyone telling me what's going on with him, and I'm still not moved. And I'll never forget the horrible stuff he said about Brittany Murphy when she passed, too. This is the same man that tried to murder Britney Spears. The same man who was a part of bullying Amy Winehouse into her grave, too. Some might argue that Perez Hilton was the pioneer of cyberbullying. You guys need to understand, when you lead a life of wickedness, people aren't going to be sad when you go. And you still can't convince me that that live stream that he did wasn't just a cry for help, so we will all talk about him right now. If I do have empathy for anyone in this situation, it's his children. But outside of that, I really couldn't care less. This man has said hateful stuff about women, about people in his own community, about black people. Honestly, everyone under the sun. Perez Hilton's legacy is hatred and bullying. Perez Hilton is reaping exactly what he sowed. And honestly, you can't get mad at people for not feeling empathy for that guy. Anyway, that's my rant for today. As always, I love you guys. I'll catch you next time, and peace.
Let's see if this video gets censored. Hey, TikTok, I don't buy that it was a moderator error. I think that you let the Perez Hilton live go because it was getting clicks. It was bringing people in by the thousands, and that's what you're about. That's what you're about. And it took regular people to step up and call 911. And I don't understand what we're doing with social media, man. Perez Hilton, I wish him the help that he needs. But man, we cannot leave our dialogue in this society to a handful of people that are just looking for profits. And that's what we're doing. So now I try to get information on what Perez Hilton does. I'm getting blocked. I'm getting blocked by the AI tools and the chat bots are all coming at me saying, no, you can't know about it. Oh, but it was okay for them to profit off it while they could get away with it, right? Change has to come.
Perez Hilton's family wants privacy at this time. But my question is this. Did you grant Britney Spears her privacy when she was going through her intense mental health struggles that was highly publicized by you and many other media outlets? No, you didn't. Instead, you published unflattering photos of her and continued to mock her. You want privacy, but you live stream your mental health crisis for all to see, including possibly children. TikTok banned his account, by the way, rightfully so. I want to make it very clear. I wholeheartedly support anyone that's going through a mental health struggle. I'm a mental health advocate, but I have a huge problem when you sit here and act like you are not the culprit to someone else's mental health issue. Some of you guys are not millennials. We were at the height of like paparazzi just being ruthless to celebrities. They were blog posts, they were magazine covers, unflattering photos of these celebrities. It would be so incredibly embarrassing. And some of them were going through like hard personal emotional stuff, like breakups or just like mental health crisis or body weight issues. And this man did not care. Not only did he not care, but he made millions of dollars doing it. He made a huge profit off of the traumas of others. And now here he is in his 40s. And need I remind you guys, your 40s is going to be the year of karma. It's going to be the year that so many things that you've ignored or so many things that you did will come to the surface and it'll eat you up alive, and you have to look at yourself and deal with yourself. Am I hoping he recovers? Absolutely. I sympathize with anyone struggling with mental health. I know what that's like. So I absolutely hope that he recovers. But do I feel bad that this happened? No, I don't. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of people feeling like we need to feel bad for people who were awful to other people. He needs this time to self-reflect on everything that he did.
Perez Hilton wanted Britney Spears dead. Yeah, he did. He spent the 2000s and the 2010s harassing pretty much almost every female celebrity. He posted a nude photograph of 17-year-old Miley Cyrus. He laughed when Lily Allen had a miscarriage. He went out of his way to harass Jessica Simpson, Lindsay Lohan, the Olsen twins. Any female entertainer that came to his purview was subject to his derision. But Britney Spears was his favorite punching bag. In fact, at the height of his popularity in 2008, when Australian actor Heath Ledger died, Perez Hilton published this. You had to have been there to see how nasty and demonic he was. So I'm sorry he thought to live stream his self-harm. But what about the harm he's done to countless others? Right. Perez Hilton wanted Britney Spears dead. Yeah, he did. He spent the 2000s and the 2010s harassing pretty much almost every female celebrity. He posted a nude photograph of 17-year-old Miley Cyrus. He laughed when Lily Allen had a miscarriage. He went out of his way to harass Jessica Simpson, Lindsay Lohan, the Olsen twins. Any female entertainer that came to his purview was subject to his derision. But Britney Spears was his favorite punching bag. In fact, at the height of his popularity in 2008, when Australian actor Heath Ledger died, Perez Hilton published this. You had to have been there to see how nasty and demonic he was. So I'm sorry he thought to live stream his self-harm. But what about the harm he's done to countless others? Right. Perez Hilton wanted Britney Spears dead. Yeah, he did.
In his prime, Perez Hilton was a nightmare, the craziest, most reckless blog on the internet. Bruce Willis's daughter, Tallulah, said his bullying made her want to end it all. She's one of many, but she was only 13 when he was talking about her. He wasn't just throwing a little shade at a little hot at the girls. It felt like he was malicious. Then he basically fell off around 2010. Earlier this year, though, he said he wanted to work on his relationship with God. Love that. But we've seen people get religious to avoid accountability. So I was skeptical. I feel like only time can tell if someone is serious about that or not. But yesterday he was on a live stream self-harming, and the stream wasn't shut down for a while, which is wild because the apps ban streams for way less. I know some people feel no sympathy out of this situation. Some of y'all are like, great gowns, beautiful gowns. And you feel like that due to the way he didn't care about people's mental health when he was really popping it back in the early 2000s. I personally feel like this situation is horrible and scary. This all did go down in Florida, so the Baker Act could apply, and that basically means holding someone for up to 72 hours for a mental health evaluation if they're a danger to themselves or to others. He's in the hospital right now. His team has said that he is getting the help that he needs.
I was one of those people watching Perez Hilton live in real time tonight, okay? The video that everybody is dreading to watch, I was there in real time. And when I tell you that it did not seem like a psychosis, it did not seem like that man was spiraling out of control. It felt like he was possessed by something that was obviously not himself, okay? If you have been watching him for a while, then you know recently he went through a health scare. He came through it. He was giving his life over to Christ. Like he was really, changing. Now all of a sudden this is happening. Let me just tell you what was the scariest thing about the whole situation. I was on that live and I reported it at least 10 different times. And every single time TikTok kept telling me that they did not see a violation, that nothing was wrong. This man stood there and was self-harming himself for over 30 minutes. I'm talking about nude, a weapon, gore, blood everywhere. But they didn't see nothing was wrong with that. Let me just tell y'all, I never in imagined years would have imagined that I would ever pick up my phone, get on my TikTok app, and see the stuff that I seen tonight. All I can do is pray for him. I can't even get the images out of my mind. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. And I know anybody that watched that video or even was there in real time like me, I know that they are feeling the same way. Y'all, we got to pray for him because it's something going on with him behind that screen that a lot of us obviously don't know about. And here's the thing, it did not end when that TikTok live ended. That man barricaded himself inside of the house, and it was all over the news how police was trying to get in the house to save him from himself. And hopefully they were successful. Hopefully tomorrow we don't wake up to another TikTok influencer losing their damn life.
Always catches up with you. No matter how you look at this Perez Hilton situation, he's the prime example why I always try to leave a little room for error when it comes to people changing their lives. And I always say there's always a fighting chance for people to get it right. I'm a firm believer that people will get it at some point. I sat and listened to what Perez Hilton had to say, word for word. And whether this has something to do with sepsis, or he's going through a religious psychosis, or he's having a mental breakdown. That aside, human to human, heart to heart, he was telling the truth. He said that in this line of business, in the beginning of his career, he was ruthless. He didn't care who he hurt, long as he got the numbers and the money. This is why numbers do not matter to me. Do not let that shit get to my head. You have to learn to ground yourself and know that this is a gift to be able to speak to people. Not everybody has the gift for gab. Not everybody stand in their truth enough to be able to vocalize how they're feeling. Some people are convicted early on. Some people are convicted later on. I'm almost 100% sure that there was somebody around Perez Hilton in the beginning stages of his career telling him that he was taking things a little too far. I'm sure he's put people in the hospital because of anxiety or depression, thinking that in this business, he had to be ruthless. I'm sure he knew this and ignored it. While I don't want to see anything happen to him, we all got a journey. We all have good karma or bad karma. Some people are untouchable. Some people you just cannot go running your mouth about. You can't just be reckless with them. Instead of having empathy, some people have to go through it themselves to get to the other side. And I feel like that's what we're seeing with Perez. Perez, it's the company you're keeping now. Because whoever was on live trying to encourage him to stop drinking Florida water, instead of encouraging this man to go see a doctor, or maybe even getting off live so you can have a personal conversation with your friend or associate, I just think that was inappropriate. Much like how Perez was doing a lot of shit for clicks and views, is the same way them people that was in those boxes was doing things for clicks and views, because they could have shut that live down. But here we are.
My thoughts on the Perez Hilton situation as a licensed therapist. The first thing that comes to mind is I'm deeply saddened and disturbed to see somebody in that space having a mental health crisis. To give some context of what this is, it's actually a layer deeper than self-harm and is approached that way legally. To my knowledge here, what happened is he got Baker Acted, which means when we're trying to put somebody in a position involuntarily to protect themselves and their life. And not all self-harm qualifies for that. It has to be self-harm that's flirting with lethality, meaning kind of the multiple cuts on him could have endangered his life. And usually there's up to a 72-hour hold in which you're reevaluated. And you actually can be mandated to do further mental health treatment based on what the professionals have dictated. To be clear, self-harm isn't suicidality. And some people who are suicidal do self-harm, and some people who self-harm are not suicidal at all. So we approach them very differently clinically. People self-harm for many reasons, right? It's to harness some sense of control over internal pain with physical pain that you can inflict and therefore have power over. Some sense of masochism or a punishment of self if you feel like you're inadequate or unworthy. There's actually a desire to feel when we feel numbed out or we have dissociated to some degree. Could be a regulatory soothing element to it as well. Or it also could be in efforts to get somebody to recognize the pain that we're suffering. There are all various reasons why people self-harm. Ideally, what I don't want to happen is for people to act like somebody deserves this based on previous choices they've made. Obviously, Perez Hilton is a controversial figure. You know, if you're a millennial like I am, you probably have awareness of his past and different things he's done. He's bully shamed and body shamed young celebrities. He has outed people publicly their sexual orientation. He's been cruel to people, and he's published private information, private pictures, and things of that nature that people wouldn't want public. So a lot of people have this idea of, I don't need to feel empathy about this. Someone's getting their comeuppance. How hypocritical of him to mock celebrities going through mental health crises like Britney Spears and then have one of his own. He probably deserves it. And ultimately, I'll give you the therapeutic angle on why this isn't necessarily the case. So in essence, a lot of people will go, well, you shame somebody in a mental health crisis and then you're having your own and you deserve it. But really it's you shame somebody in a mental health crisis because you're somebody who's predisposed to have a mental health crisis yourself. We call this projective identification. Basically, somebody who doesn't feel ashamed about that part of themselves feels no need to make another person wear that shame. It's not psychologically fruitful for them. Projective identification is when we make somebody feel how we feel. So we want them to wear what we feel like we wear. So him mocking Britney or making her chaotic or looking at her as denigrating her less than, that's all because that's how he's felt. So this type of behavior or self-harming or shame or different components were probably inevitable based on that personality type. Something to understand about people is we're not hypocritical in our unconscious. The logic follows through. So when we are the pot calling the kettle black, we know that, and it's psychologically distressing on some level, even if we have our defense mechanisms at play that say we're not consciously aware of it. And the truth is, for most people outside of some antisocial types of people, it harms us. It harms our self-esteem to do ego dystonic behavior, meaning to do things that don't align with our integrity, to care about other people, or to be ethical, or to be kind. And so all of this behavior that Perez Hilton has done over the course of his life indicates that he's not mentally well, or he has lower self-esteem, or he's unhappy with himself. He's done enough dystonic behavior to feel a deep level of shame. And that makes something like a mental health crisis more or less inevitable. Maybe not in this graphic of a way, but that type of kind of cruel and callous criticism of other people and the degrading of them and all of these different things points to the fact that this is somebody who is unhappy. This is somebody who feels ashamed. This is somebody who's not necessarily proud of who they are. My therapist says it best, but when we're pointing at somebody, there's usually at least 3 fingers pointing back to us. And that's exactly what it looks like with projective identification and shame. Now, there's another angle of this that actually concerns me, which I think is somewhat unprecedented. You know, ever since the JFK assassination in the 60s, the idea of seeing something deeply unsettling and traumatic on film has only ramped up. So it seems like all of the time we're inundated by these graphic assassinations or war crimes or things of this nature like we see with Perez Hilton, and it's widely available and accessible in an unprecedented way. And in my field, a helping field, we have what's called vicarious trauma and we have what's called secondary trauma. And basically what secondary trauma is one step removed post-traumatic stress. So basically you're working with somebody who likely has PTSD or post-traumatic stress, and you're actually starting to get the symptoms of a similar nature just from hearing about their experience. Well, vicarious trauma is basically the change in how you think based on being exposed to someone's traumatic experience. So thinking the world is less safe or what have you. It's not a physical symptom like secondary trauma is. However, it's a mindset. It's, well, the world isn't safe. You'll see this in kind of cops or people along those lines. They've seen shit. And what concerns me is this used to be more or less exposed to people who are working with somebody who is experiencing consistent traumatic stress. So like somebody who works with the military or in law enforcement, or somebody who does crisis first aid like therapists or doctors or what have you. And nowadays everyone is exposed to this incredibly traumatic material. This type of trauma exposure through the media is definitely something that is going to be studied. One could be desensitized or dissociate or actually experience some level of dopamine from seeing something that's really scary or exciting in a sense, and possibly get addicted to that content or view it as alluring because it is so bizarre and macabre. There is a rubbernecking there that affects people. It could affect somebody who's predisposed to something like depression or anything of the like. It affects our vicarious worldviews, whereas you used to feel safe, now you feel incredibly unsafe every day. And it affects your social occupational functioning and all of these different components. So I think seeing this type of stuff, the average person probably wasn't meant to see in a modern context, and we'll probably see more information on that. But that is ultimately also very alarming to me. So I hope this helps.
For years, Perez Hilton has been one of the most recognizable and controversial figures in celebrity media. His career was literally built around celebrity gossip, controversy, commentary, and the public lives of other people. And there is an uncomfortable irony in watching someone who spent years documenting other people's most vulnerable moments suddenly become the subject of one of the most vulnerable moments imaginable. And while my ego, like many others, wants to point the finger and say, well, that's karma, my higher self, and remember y'all, this is a Waves of Wisdom podcast, my higher self wants to say, let's try to get the message and the lesson from this. Now, I'm not here to tell anyone that has been personally shamed or victimized by this man how to respond to the situation, how to grieve, how to heal, that they need to forgive. I'm not here to do that. But for the rest of us, where does our humanity begin when somebody we don't necessarily like is suffering? Because remember, compassion and empathy isn't really tested when it's somebody we love. It's tested when it's somebody we've criticized, somebody who has made mistakes, somebody who has hurt people, somebody whose behavior we may completely disagree with. Can we acknowledge someone's past and still recognize their humanity in the present? I believe we can. I think accountability and compassion can exist in the same room at the same time. We have normalized watching people fall apart. Something else really bothered me about this situation. We live in a time where almost anything can become content. A breakup becomes content, an argument becomes content, somebody crying becomes content, a public meltdown becomes content. A person's worst day can become a viral clip before they've even had time to process what happened to themselves. And because we're watching through a screen, sometimes we, the viewers, forget this is a real human being, not a storyline, not a meme, not tea, not something to repost because everyone else is talking about it, a real person. And there are real people connected to that person. Children, parents, friends, family, people who now have to live with something that the internet may treat like another trending topic. There is a strange thing that happens online where the more disturbing something is, the more people become curious and want to watch that content. But protecting your mind matters too. So everything that happens in the world does not need to enter your spirit through your eyes. And sometimes the healthiest decision you can make is saying, I know enough, I don't need to see the rest. Because I know that's what I be doing. Especially when graphic content can unexpectedly reach people who have their own histories with trauma, depression, or self-harm. We should be thinking about what we're circulating, not just what we're consuming. Social media has become our entertainment center, diary, workplace, news station, community center, and sometimes even our emergency room. People go live when they're experiencing some of the hardest moments of their lives. And suddenly, thousands of strangers are watching something that probably requires professional intervention, not comments, likes, and shares. We have never had this level of access to one another before. And I don't think society has fully developed the emotional responsibility necessary to handle that type of access. They are trying to desensitize the collective. I believe that this is all part of bigger propaganda and agendas, but we won't talk about that here. But the question isn't always, can we watch? The question sometimes needs to become, should we? And when someone is clearly in crisis, our instinct shouldn't be to screen record or to record that person. It should be to recognize that something has crossed the line from content into an emergency. And there's another part of this conversation that I think really matters. You don't truly know what someone else is carrying. And what I will say from personal experience is that people that hurt people were hurt themselves. And from what he's shown on his social media, it seems as though he was trying to get back to Christ, get back to learning who he is, and trying to repent from his previous actions. But listen, somebody can be successful, famous, funny, opinionated, controversial, rich, loud, confident, posting every day, and still be struggling somewhere underneath everything that we're seeing. Social media has trained us to think visibility equals transparency, and that's not necessarily true. You can see somebody every single day and still have absolutely no idea what is happening internally. And that's just something I think we need to remember beyond Perez Hilton, with celebrities, with creators, with our friends, with our partners, with our children, and even and especially with ourselves. Sometimes people need help long before their pain looks like an emergency. This is why we need to pay attention to those subtle clues and hints and ways of being that we ourselves have and that we experience in others. Make sure you guys like this video. Comment down below, how do you feel about this entire Perez Hilton situation? That's today's Wave of Wisdom. I'll see y'all on the next one.